Now, let us look at the changes in the textile industry. Changes in the textile industry. The earliest appearance of industrial revolution took place in the textile industry. So when we talk of industrial revolution, the first was on textile, the making of clothes. At first, the process of cloth making was done by hand at home. However, there were changes and new developments in the textile industry. So we should understand to say improvements started when at first they were doing it at home. But then what led to the changes in the textile industries? What were the causes? Number one was the increased population led to the increased demand for cloth. So when there are so many people, it means they need so many clothing. And again, plantations in America produced plenty of raw cotton as quickly as possible. So cotton growing in America was done rapidly. As a result, it was just plenty of raw cotton there. And again, there were many inventions taking place which encouraged construction of factories. So there were also many inventions. People were discovering more things by that time. As a result, it encouraged the making of factories. And again, many flocked to towns for work, and this encouraged establishment of factories as well. So you see to it, when people were flocking to towns, at the same time they needed to clothe. They needed clothing. Hence, factories were needed to form factories for cloth making as well. However, new developments took place in the textile industry during the Industrial Revolution. So there were a number of developments that took place in the industrial or in the textile industry. Now, let's start with the flying shuttle. We already mentioned this flying shuttle. It was the first machine to be invented. So it was invented by John Kay in 1733. It was the first machine. So it was a piece of wood to which threads for making clothes were attached. Unlike the traditional methods, it was possible to make broader clothes than before. Also, this machine saved the weaver from passing the shuttle from hand to hand, and more length of cloth could be weaved within a short period of time. However, the spines were left behind because weaving was done so fast than there was need to invest a corresponding spinning device in order to catch up with the weavers. So we see to it that what happened during this invention was that now there was the improvement whereby people were doing by hand, and they could make maybe a short piece, a small piece in a day. But with this flying shuttle, they could make a long one and a wider piece at a very short period of time. However, we are saying that here there was a problem with this machine, whereby it needed someone to control as well. So what happened was that the machine was spinning very fast, was very fast. As a result, the controller was left behind. So the weavers, the people were left behind. As a result, things were delayed by the weaver. So there was that need to develop the device in order to catch up with the weavers. Then there was the spinning jenny. The spinning jenny, This one was the second machine to be invented and was called the spinning jenny, and it was invented by James Hargreaves in 1764. And Jenny was the name of his wife, so he named it after the name of his wife. It increased the number of threads spanned from 1 to 16, and so it was so faster and could be operated by one man. So the spinning jenny still had some setbacks, however. Number one, it was still operated by hand. And number two, the thread produced were coarse and lacked strength. So we see to it that the spinning jenny, it was an improvement now of the flying shuttle, whereby instead of working with one thread, it was working with 16 threads, 16 lines at the same time. And it could be operated by one man. So it was spinning and it was done by one man. But it had its own shortfalls. Number one, it was operated by hand, much as it was a machine doing so faster, but it was still operated by hand. And also the spread, the threads itself, they were coarse. They were coarse. They were not looking good, and they lacked strength. They were easily torn off. Then there was the water frame. The water frame was the other machine in textile. So it was invented by Richard Arkwright in 1769. So the water frame used water power than the human power, and therefore it had to be built on the river side. So this is why early factories or the spinning, textile factories, they were located at or near the rivers. So the invention of the water frame was the real beginning of factory system in Britain. The coarse and strong thread was made by spinning the cotton thread pairs. So the beginning of this water frame, it was now the real industrial revolution, the real beginning of factory now in Britain, whereby now we see man is just there and the machine is doing the work on its own, because now the water frame, we are saying that it was done by water, it was pulled by water. That's why it was built near the rivers. And there was also the mule. The mule was also invented. So this was invented by Samuel Crompton in 1776. So the mule was the third spinning machine to be invented as well. It combined the features of the spinning jenny and the water frame. So the mule made it possible to spin fine, strong thread. So much as we have said that the water frame and the spinning jenny, its threads were coarse, they were not looking fine. But here now, the mule produced the fine. It produced fine and strong threads. And also there was the power loom. Power loom was another machine. It was invented by Edmund Cartwright in 1785. So the machine was driven by steam power rather than water power and sped up the weaving process to match the new spinners. So we see to it that the power loom, it was not using power, the water, but it was using the steam now, the steam. So it meant that they needed coal there to heat the water and produce the steam. So it was very powerful. It was faster than the previous ones. Now let us look at the results. What were the results of mechanization in the textile industry? Cotton cloth became widely available at cheaper price because there were so many machines that were done in at larger amounts. Then cotton cloth were available almost everywhere at cheaper price. And also the use of power on machines led to the growth of factory systems. So the use of power, like water power, the steam power, then that one resulted into the growth of the factory system. The industrial towns also developed where many people migrated to look for employment there in the towns. And trade was encouraged as well. Trade was encouraged because many clothes were produced, and it resulted that those clothes they needed to be brought to the people to buy. And again, many people got employed as well. Many people were employed in the textile industry. Now let us look at the changes that were there in the iron industry. So the method of smelting iron. The method of smelting iron is the one that we're going to start with. We'll have to look at the methods. How was the iron smelted? Originally, the way of smelting iron was using charcoal, which largely contributed to the deforestation. So iron was smelted using charcoal, heating it until it becomes softer, and they could shape it into other things. And again, in 1735, Abraham Darby used coal and coke instead of charcoal for smelting iron. So he used the coal and coke. Then the result was that the high-grade iron suitable for making machines was made, and there was sharp in reduction of deforestation, because earlier on people could use woods, could use trees in order to heat iron, but this time around we see the use of coal and coke. All these things were taken again from the ground, just as coal and coke are the minerals that are there. So they were used to heat the iron in order to produce the tools or the iron that was needed. So we are saying here that they produced the high-grade iron that was suitable for making machines. The blast furnace of making steel. So in 1858, Henry Bessemer introduced the blast furnace. So this was the device that smelted pig iron into steel after blowing hot air into the furnace. So because it is much stronger than iron, steel was in great demand for use in a number of areas. For example, in building railways, in constructing bridges, and in building the engines. So we see to it that the same iron now, it was heated much to produce steel. So that steel that was produced, it was much stronger than the iron. So with that then, that steel was much needed. It was on high demand in building the railways, in constructing the bridges, as well as in building the engines. So they needed much of that steel. So what were the results of the changes in iron and steel industries? Number one, strong locomotives, bridges, industrial machines, they were all made. And also, number two, it led to the employment of people in industries to get iron, to bring to the furnace, to heat it, and to bring it to the market. On all these stages, they needed people. As a result, there was employment. And construction of high-rise buildings, the skyscrapers, as steel proved to be much stronger as compared to iron. So we see there was the construction of high-rise building, the stories, the skyscrapers. So they are using the steel there. So here now, let us look at the general effects of industrial revolution. So we are going to look at both the positives as well as the negatives, the positives and the negatives. Now, positive effects of the Industrial Revolution. Number one was that there was goods such as clothes became plentiful, cheaper, and of higher quality. So goods, for example, clothes that were made, they were plenty, cheaper, and of higher quality. And transport and communication became very, very easy with good roads, railways, and vehicles. So transport and communication became very easy. Another positive effect was it led to the growth of industrial towns as people left villages to work in cities and towns. Another positive effect was the following and crop rotation practices in agriculture reduced the erosion, pests, and diseases. So following, to say you cultivate, just till the soil, leave it, and next year that's when you are going to plant. And also crop rotation, those systems, they reduced the erosion, pest, and the diseases as well. It also led to the tight security among the nations as soldiers safeguarded the goods and passengers from pirates and robbers. So there was the introduction of tight security to say now we have best goods. They have to be protected. So there was that introduction of tight security. Material wealth increased for many people through the increased production. So material wealth now increased, whereby many people now, they had manufactured goods. And also literacy was highly improved and promoted as schools were built closer to workplaces. So literacy improved because schools now were introduced near the working places. And also it led to the increase in job opportunities, especially in cities and the towns. So job opportunities were there created by the Industrial Revolution. It also led to the trade. Trade was intensified among the continents. For example, Europe, America, Asia, and Africa. So it intensified trade among the continents. Also, trade unions were formed to defend the rights of the workers and abolish child labor. So we see to it, they formed the trade unions. In factories, people, they had one voice to say no, maybe they were complaining for their wages or the working conditions per se. So they were able to defend their rights. That is the trade unions. Trade unions, we mean the coming together of the people, the workers with one voice to say, to defend their rights. And also there was the emergence of middle social class, whose wealth was obtained from the industry and business. So there was the emergence of the middle social class, the middle class who depended on industry and business. And this was unlike the old system where there were the aristocrats and the peasants, and land ownership was a traditional means of wealth accumulation. So previously, people, those who were wealth, they were the people who had land, the landowners, the landlords, they were the only ones. But here, with the Industrial Revolution, there were people who had no land, but they had a business, they had an industry. Therefore, they were wealthy people who were called the middle social class. Let us look at the negative effects of the Industrial Revolution. Number one, there was exploitation of women and children who were employed for very low wages. So exploitation of those women and children because they were employed for very low wages. Child labor was common, so there was child labor there. Young people were sent to work because they were abused there. To say young people that didn't know money, they were given work, a lot of work with no or very few wages. And housing for the workers was usually poor. So housing in the factories, it was poor. And water supplies, sewers, and the paved streets were in short supply. So We talk of water and the sewage system there in the working places, or where people were living near the factories or industries. They were very poor. And again, epidemics like cholera, typhoid, and diphtheria, they were very common. All these things, they were the diseases that were that had maybe when the place is filthy, is dirty, it's more often that people are going to be attacked by cholera, typhoid, and diphtheria. As the further technological development continued, it also led to the unemployment. Soon, a single machine could do the work of a group of people. So it reduced the employment rate, whereby the machines took over the work of the people. And also it led to moral degradation due to effects of technological development and interaction of people with different backgrounds. We talk of the industries. People were flocking to the industries. Now, to the industries there, the people were coming from different places, and they were bringing in their culture, their traditions there, and there was that moral degradation, and a new culture developed whereby the morals were no longer respected, just as it is with the towns. Those people who are living in town, but they are strict with their traditional background, they are taken that these people, they are still backwards. They are achimizimizi like that. Because in town life, there is a new thing. Usually there are new things because different people meet there. So usually there is moral degradation. So that's what also happened with the coming of the Industrial Revolution. And also, the poor lost their land after failing to lease it. We mentioned of leasing the land, whereby people, they had their land and they leased that land, and those who failed, they also lost their land. So the poor were the victims of land leasing. And also the riches led to the birth of middle class of people that exploited the poor. So the riches, those people who had industries, now they started to exploit the poor, the ones who were coming to work for them. They were usually exploited. And also, overcrowding was common, and it contributed to the outbreaks of diseases. So there was that overcrowding. So when someone starts his industry, you find that he just opens a hostel somewhere, whereby all those who are going to be working here, they are housed in the hostel there. So there then, they were jam-packed there. So with that, then it led to the outbreak of diseases. To this far now, we have come to the end of this wonderful topic. We have looked at a number of factors, as you can see. We have looked at the beginning of this industrial revolution. We said it started in England, and we have explained the reasons why it started in England. We have also looked at the contributors, major contributors, and we have looked at the major changes in different industries, like in agriculture, in load and in transport and communication, in all those things, and even in textile. We have looked at all those areas where changes were brought. All in all, we have seen that there were the development of the machines that eased the work that was to be done by 100 people now was done by a single person. There was the improvement of life. However, we have also looked at the effects of that industrial revolution in two parts, to say there were the negatives as well as the positive. On the positives, we have looked at it to say that there was the improvement of life, whereby goods now were found cheaper, plenty, and they were it was easily accessed. Transportation was easy. And again, there was linkage whereby distance was shortened. And also on the negative, we have looked at it to say employment now was not there, because the work that was to be done by 100, it was now done by 1. Moral degradation. People were flocking to work in the industries, and there they learned the new cultures that contradicted to their backgrounds. And also there was the abuse, child labor we have also talked of the abuse, to say the rich owners, the industry owners, now they abused the workers, whereby the working conditions usually they were not good. They were packed. The living areas, they were not okay. So with that, then we see it was the negative effect of the industrial revolution. Now, before I leave you, with me here is the work. As usual, you are going to go through this work. Go through this work. These are the questions, just as we do each and every time. Go through this work one by one, one by one. Read the question, understand the question, and you answer it. So the questions, there are many, not so many, of course, but what is needed is for you to go through. Just go through these questions. Go through these questions and understand the question before you start attempting any question. But question number 7 is, as usual, it's an essay. I know to this far you are writing good essays now. So here is another essay. Here is another essay. I am very grateful if you write this essay. So the essay says, discuss the general impact of the industrial revolution. Discuss the general impact or effect of the industrial revolution. So do that, please. Do that, please. So do this essay. Write a very good essay. So after you are done with these questions, as usual, remember, you use your pen and paper. Usually use the black pen. Get used to write on black, just as my letters here appear in black. Write in black. Write your handwriting, your best handwriting. Use that one on paper. After you do capture or scan, then what you do is you send me via the WhatsApp number that is here. So send me your responses to this one, I'll do the same. I'll also download that one. I'll mark and I'll send you the feedback. So don't go to the next topic before you attempt this one. I know for sure you have the materials. You can also use the email address here by sending to this email address. I am there to accept your things. Don't type, but write, because you are going to write the final exam. So I want to give you advice on the same. So I know you have the materials. You go to the best schools. You meet your teachers, the best teachers like myself. There, then you have everything. But all what I am interested in is to guide you. I want to guide you. So I know you have the best thing. So I just want to assist you, because you may have books, you may go to school and listen, but then if you are not able to write the correct answers correctly, then you may miss, because you may have the answers. I know many people, many students, you know the answers, but the way to write a correct answer is a problem. So that's where I need you to have that special privilege to say, all right, this is the way we write an answer. Sometimes, because you know it better, you tend to write more and more, but the question says 1 mark. The question says 2 marks. So that's why I've hidden the marks there deliberately, so that I see how you can write, how you can respond to the question just as it is. Therefore, my advice will come in that line to say, all right, this question is for so marks. Therefore, you are supposed to write in this way. This question is for so marks. You are supposed to write in this way, like that. So you may know the answers, but the way to write the answer is difficult. So I want to guide you in this one. That's why I'm saying don't go to the next topic. Don't rush to the next topic before you attempt this work, because it is going to assist you so much. So next, we are going to look at, again, another wonderful topic. And this one is really the voyages of exploration. The voyages of exploration. So on this one, it is really another good topic. Now, on the voyages of exploration, we are going to look at still the age of European awakening, whereby now people started to embark on the sea ways or sea transport, sea journeys, long sea journeys, whereby they were exploring different areas. So, what advantage did it bring to the world? And who were the people who participated? This one, I tell you, it is another good topic. But you know what? This topic is already there on the DVD. So all you can do is, after you have finished the Industrial Revolution, all you can do is pick up that number, call me that you need the voyages of exploration. I'll send you that topic instantly, and you are going to enjoy it at the home comfort, and you are going to do it better. So until next time, thank you so much, but keep safe and do it better. Do it until it works. Thank you so much.
Simutaya nthawi yanu kufunafuna maphunziro muzakhala wotumidwa moyo wanu wonse. Ngati simuphunzira anthu azingokutumani ajala kalime ajala kuchwe manyazi ajala katende yanti ndipo anthu ophunzira wandu wotuma so kwambiri. Ndiye ngati simuphunzira skulu akuyikirani apa mukhala otumidwa.